Good morning everyone, welcome to my wildlife allotment plot here in northeast London. It's late May and I thought I'd do a little wildlife allotment plot tour to show you what I've got going on. So behind me we've got my foxgloves there, wild geranium there, more foxgloves here, and they're all growing on my raised terrace beds up the bank here, which I made about a year and a half ago. So you can see there in the middle I've got my black currants coming along. They're doing well. I believe these are red currants, and we're right underneath the shade of an ash tree and a sycamore tree. Oh dear. Well, this is my perennial kale, and you can probably tell it's been eaten by pigeons at the moment, so I might just have to cover that up to stop the pigeons completely killing it. Not sure about you guys, but my broad beans here have definitely had it. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get any broad beans out of these because of the black fly, and they're just going to have to stay in the ground and try and add a bit of nitrogen to the soil. But they've become the sacrificial crop, unfortunately. Mange 2. Amazing, that's the first one I spotted. Oh, hang on, there's another one here. Okay, so they come out of these flower heads then. So we just got to keep our fingers crossed, because I've actually never grown Mange 2 before, that these Mange 2 get pollinated and then amazingly they're not being eaten by black fly, these Mange 2. That's amazing. Can't believe I've actually got something that's grown and not being eaten by plants. Look. So I've got some Mange 2. Strawberries coming on all over this entrance area. The ground is covered with strawberries, and they're also sending out runners to make new plants there. So my raspberry canes, if you remember, are summer fruiting, which means they produce fruit in the second year on a 1-year-old growth. And there are some raspberries appearing, and there's also some new growth, which is what I wanted to show you here. So summer fruiting raspberries there on last year's growth. So the sacrificial broad bean bed is there, just past the climbing beans. And then I've got my onion bed this year. So up the other end, up there, I've got some leeks, I've got some shallots here, and then red onions here. So this end of the brassica bed, Swiss chard, and also I've got, just below me, I've got my society garlic here, which is absolutely delicious to just pick and eat. That's not society garlic, I've just picked a bit of grass, which I'm going to pick out. So, but you can tell the grass apart from the society garlic because it's like a piece of grass basically, like that. Whereas a piece of society garlic is completely different, not as floppy and wavy, quite stiff, and it smells and tastes like garlic and onion, and it's quite peppery. It's absolutely delicious. So I'm going to eat that now, and as Terry King would say, excuse me. That is lovely. And then when you start chewing it, you get this kind of hot, peppery taste, and garlic as well. And that you can just chop and drop, or you can pick it and cook it in with your little fry up. In fact, I might do that today. Pick some of these Swiss chard leaves with society garlic, chop it up, fry it up at home, and then have that as part of my lunch today. But I digress. So what I was saying was, the slugs don't seem to have taken to this Swiss chard as much. Anyway, I put this sharp sand around the base of each brassica plant, but just realised it's probably the pigeons that are eating the big brassicas. Oh dear me. We're back next day and have a look at the damage. Not too bad. These were donated seeds from a fellow plot holder for those long thin squashes, and I'm hoping that they'll be able to climb up this tripod of canes, but we'll see, won't we? But like I said, the Swiss chard, which I took home yesterday, and some society garlic, fried it up with some mushrooms and various bits and bobs. It was absolutely delicious, wasn't it? Not sure if you can see this, but just beyond here is a row of spring onions, and that's just in front or underneath the asparagus that I'm allowing to go to seed again. This is the second season really this year. I got this idea from Steve's Seaside Allotment to plant some spring onions underneath the asparagus. I mean, to be honest with you, I haven't got many asparagus spears coming up anyway, so probably doesn't really matter. But I sowed these direct in the soil about, God, it must have been about 7 or 8 weeks ago now. And these are straight up from seed, and they're almost ready for harvesting, to be honest with you. You know, if you want some spring onions, or green onions as they call them over the pond, then yeah, I'll be able to harvest those daily from now on, I think. So I've done some weeding on my asparagus bed here this morning in preparation for some seeds that I'm going to sow. And you might think I'm a bit crazy, but I'm going to sow these common forget-me-nots, true wild form. And the reason for that is I want vegetables growing in among flowers, vice versa. I want it to be more naturalistic on quite a few of my beds. And there you can see the seeds in the packet from inside. Quite a few. It says that you've got to sow these once all danger of frost has passed. Well, it's the end of May, so I'm pretty sure there's not going to be any hard frost. Famous last words. So a few in my hand here, and they're literally going to be sprinkled. You can't even see it in here. And I'm just going to lightly rough up the soil. I think I'm going to sprinkle a few here, and I'm going to mark it off for some canes or sticks, just to remember there's some forget-me-nots here. I'm going to forget, aren't I? I'm going to forget the forget-me-nots. But anyway, I'm not sure if you can see that, guys, but I believe that could be sweet corn. A couple of weeks ago, I had some a two-year-old packet of sweet corn, and I planted some along here. And I believe that might actually be sweet corn that I've accidentally chewed off there. But let's see. Yeah, there's some there as well. I think that's sweet corn. So that is good. That's exciting. So again, inside the bottom of that little bag is some forget-me-nots. Wow. That's it. Just ruffle the soil a bit. And now I'm going to give it a little bit of water. So my pond's filling up nicely. I've topped it up with the rainwater that I've collected from the rainwater collection system I made. So that's quite good. And it's rained a few nights as well since we last saw each other. I wanted to show you this middle bit here. You can see, not very clearly because of the reflection, but in there I've got an order of, I think it's called hornwort. from wildgarden.com, and that's an oxygenating plant. I've got a few oxygenators now in the middle and some nice ones just sticking up there above the pond surface as well. They're sitting on a ledge in a basket further down. If you want to see how I created the well area in the middle there and this pond, then I've got a playlist of, I think it's 4 videos showing the different stages of creating this wildlife pond. So we're at the back of the plot by the compost bins. I've got my little bucket under here and I've been steeping comfrey leaves for about 3 weeks. And so you can imagine it's quite a strong smell. I'm going to pour a bit of that into this watering can full of water. Not too much. Doesn't smell too strong, to be honest with you. And now I'm going to feed those squash plants that I've just sown. See if I can get them off to a good start. First thing I'm going to do is give these a little water, or good water, with the comfrey feed. Like that. There we go. And then I'm going to put some of the sharp sand around the base of each seedling, because I can just tell the slugs are going to get to this quickly. And then of course I've got to protect it from pigeons as well. So I've put some pea sticks and various other sticks and canes around them to stop the pigeons from coming down and landing on them, pecking them. So fingers crossed. So this is my comfrey. Currently being enjoyed by bumblebees. They're all over it, which I'm very happy about, to be honest. I think bumblebees are brilliant, by the way, and I'm going to make my plot bumblebee friendly. So I've planted a few of these Millesii plants that I've grown from seed around the pond edge. Just got to give them a water and see if they'll survive, basically. I've got a feeling I've put them out too early, like about a year. The 3 just tucked round the outskirts of the pond, really. I'm not sure if they like getting their feet wet or not, but that's where I put them. So that's the railway bridge. I'm sat right in more or less in the middle where the tracks would have gone. And there's a lovely open canopy in this area that lets a lot of sunlight through. So the pond is getting quite a lot of light and sun, which is I think where they're supposed to be. But it's picking up some shade from this, what I think is a self-seeded sycamore tree that was allowed to grow in the middle of the plot. But I've pollarded it, as I explained to my viewers last year, to try and get some new growth and keep it under control. See how it goes in the next few years. And then I've made planting beds around the sycamore tree to grow some veg and some flowers. And wildlife meadow seeds, red clover and so on, grasses around the pond. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that end of May plot tour. I've got a few things going on, some things more successful than others, but I hope in the next couple of years this plot's going to really develop. I've got no exact plan, unfortunately. I wish I could be a bit more organised, but I mean, it's coming along, but I've got no definite plan of what I'm going to put where. Maybe I should. All I know is I want to develop a more naturalistic style of allotment plot, more like nature, and see if that builds up immunity on the vegetables while I've got all the flowers growing. Also want to focus on what flowers are appearing on the bank. Wildflower meadow flowers, I need more of those, less of that grass, and also on the public display underneath the Lawson cypress tree.